Well, response video to great texts and others like Bella who dispute the existence of objective reality and objective morality. So in Great Tex's video response to my Facts of Life video, he makes a lot of just felonious arguments, just a lot of mush. He says at one point how we're all made of matter, and the matter is replaced every 7 years, the atoms themselves, and then somehow that means something. The arrangement doesn't change, Great Text, you know it. The fact is their functionality doesn't change, their arrangement doesn't change. So it's just a silly argument, and so you throw a lot of silly argument in there. And your premise is that you are presuming to be knowledgeable of what the objective thinking person's conclusions should be, even though you say people shouldn't be objectively thinking and that there is no such thing as objectively thinking. I mean, it seems incredibly presumptuous to be told by someone who doesn't believe in something what that belief has as its logical conclusion. I mean, that's idiotic in my opinion, beyond being just incredibly presumptuous and arrogant. Objectivity is the brain, the whole function of intelligence is to acquire understanding through analysis, and the point is to accurately model or build an understanding within ourselves of reality. That's the game. That's what it's there to do. That's its functionality. Yeah, we can build logical equations of the truth in our minds. We can construct an accurate model of reality in our minds, of a given reality or reality as a whole even. And all that needs to be changed, all that needs to be created is an accurate or complete perspective. If you're going to analyze something, you'd look at it from all the angles available to you, from all perspectives available to you, until you receive enough information to draw conclusions. It really isn't that complicated. And so the only dicey piece of information that we receive, that we are using as objectivists in determining value or meaning or the definition of what is a fact and what is reality, is often that some of this information we have to retain, we gain through through the narrow medium of experience, through the fact that we are actually alive and experiencing the living process, and that gives us an awareness that we could not have without being alive. It's very hard to describe what being conscious is like. We can't sit there and explain exactly what the concept is. So the fact that we are conscious gives us an insight into what the conscious experience is like. And so we can understand what's happening to other animals and people based on the fact that we have experienced it personally, so we know what it is. But that knowledge is just that. It is knowledge. It is a piece of information. And we can build a philosophy and an understanding out of that information. Is not corrupt merely because it comes through a subjective experience. The fact that we learn things through our personal experience does not mean that education is of no value. What's of no value is to say that an alternative source of perception that is entirely focused on subjective experience would be more valid than an attempt to be as pure as possible in your analysis, in terms of keeping out any erroneous prejudices and preferences that are based on your personal needs, drives, and desires. So there really is, I mean, if the equation is are we going to think subjectively or objectively, it seems quite obvious that the preferential mode of thinking should be objective. And as I stated, the fact that we are dependent on some subjectively acquired information does not change that fact. So I will state, contrary to what you state, as an objectivist, as somebody who might know what objectivity, what the philosophy leads to, because I actually believe in the objective perspective and the ability of our minds to create it by separating ourselves not only from our subjective drives, desires, preferences, and prejudices, but by also attempting to place our mind above our self-interest, above any personal interest, to view a more complete picture of what our existence is and what our place in the universe is. And you say that none of it matters. It doesn't matter to an objectivist, that there's no values that can be objectively defined, and it's just your pronouncement. You just pronounce it. You just say it as if it's a self-evident truth, and it's absolute bullshit. Intelligence can understand that consciousness is a significant event. The fact that it is made out of just atoms and molecules and compounds does not change the fact that it is a reality, that it is a distinct and differentiable aberration or event. It has a unique character. It is not just atoms and molecules and electrons and compounds. It is obviously something more than that. The arrangement creates an effect, not unlike the effect that some materials can create, known as magnetism, or some other aberration or extension of their reality that creates some nuance of significance. And so this is a significant nuance to the living organism, the capacity to feel, to consciously experience a life. And it's just idiotic to give me this argument that somehow, because it's made up of matter, that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just preposterous.
I don't even know how to argue with this. I don't know what your fucking point is. I don't know why you have such a resistance to the idea that people should use intelligence to understand the world around them, that they should use their intelligence to analyze the world around them. Apparently you think we innately have superior values to the values we could objectively, through intelligence, acquire. And I guess what you are resisting is that objectively we might draw conclusions about life that you just plain don't subjectively like, because you are addicted to it, because you are subjectively dependent on certain perceptions of it, perhaps for your own comfort, and that so it annoys you that there might be this perception or description of reality that would be abhorrent to you or unpleasant for you to hear, because it doesn't have the happily ever after ending to the fairy tale. That's what you want. You want this fairy tale description of reality where you don't have to think and feel and care and give a damn, where you can, you know, just watch it like a parade and just accept it for what it is, because that's how you wish to live your life. And so you're saying that your subjective dependency is somehow more valid than objective philosophy, and I say bullshit on you. Yes, objective philosophy will likely lead to the conclusion, but that is negative. There's a negative conclusion, which is, yeah, we might not be serving any purpose here except feeding our own addiction. That living organisms have no destination. That they are just trapped in the circumstantial fact that they exist. And that there may not be any rationalizable description of what the fuck we're supposed to do. I mean, what we're supposed to accomplish by being here, except feeding need that is created by our existence. I mean, that is probably the best we can do, is fulfill some portion of the need that is created by our creation. So, I mean, it is a zero-sum game, and perhaps a negative game by that definition. But that doesn't mean we can't deal with the fact that we are here, that we can take responsibility for that fact, recognize that there is things we can do to minimize the cost and damage and expense of our existence here, that we don't have to be reckless and sloppy and stupid in our existence, that we can attempt to be, if not productive, less destructive in our behavior. These are all things that objective morality and objective truth will lead you to. These are the conclusions they'll lead you to. And they're not horrific or negative or appalling, just merely recognizing that this is what we are, that we are just animals trapped in a circumstances. We're just hungry DNA molecule that's been programmed to survive, to produce itself, to reproduce itself, to create a next generation. That's its programming. And its programming works through our biology to control our behavior in many ways. And that's what we're stuck with. That's the equation life has given us. That's the circumstance life on Earth has put us in. But it does not change the fact that we have some obligation to seek the truth and not seek comforting bullshit.